Mercedes Colwin is a trial attorney with plenty of experience trying in front of juries at that courthouse. And she's also a legal analyst. Bill Brenan is a criminal defense attorney who represented Donald Trump during his second impeachment trial. Great to have you guys both back on the show. First of all, I want you both to weigh in. Mercedes, you start on this last-minute flurry of instructions. What does it tell you that they are so focused, this jury, on this meeting at Trump Tower involving David Pecker from the National Enquirer, Michael Cohen, and Donald Trump?
This is so key, Elizabeth, because we're talking about the intent. What was the intent behind the catch and kill of these stories? And it's clear from the jury instructions this morning, the judge made it clear to the jurors that they are not to convict Donald J. Trump on the basis of Michael Cohen's testimony alone, because he would be considered an accomplice of the crime. So they have to look for other testimony. Who's the other critical testimony that came in during this criminal trial? David Pecker. He's the one, he's the very first witness for the prosecution. He's the one that set forth the landscape of the catch and kill, the origins of it, why it was done. He certainly mentioned many times during his testimony that it was done to enhance the campaign issues, that Donald Trump allegedly had concerns about some of these stories impacting his campaign. So it's clear from someone like me, someone like Bill, who tries cases, that these readbacks are critically important, and it really looks like they're looking for the intent underlying these payments.
Bill, do you agree?
I do, Elizabeth. I agree with Mercedes. And, you know, it's hard to read the tea leaves this early on. Frankly, it's hard to read them at any point in deliberations. But if this is a harbinger of things to come, we could be sitting here for days, weeks, who knows, if they're going to just start at the beginning and go through. But I don't think they're really doing that.
I don't think so either.
I think that meeting was crucial. And if they're trying to carve out Cohen, they are probably looking to the remaining evidence to see if the state proved its case.
Mercedes, you've said this is a smart, well-educated jury, and by all accounts, they've been paying really close attention to this in this whole trial. I want to ask you, have the jurors already made up their minds at this point, or are they all going in there as blank slates?
That's such a great question, Elizabeth. Could you imagine being silent about what you're observing day in and day out for 5.5 weeks and not being able to talk about it to anybody? This is their first opportunity. Now, I've never sat as a juror. Unfortunately, I would love to sit as a juror someday in my lifetime. But what jurors typically do when they enter into the deliberation room, they take a poll. Anybody have feelings? Anybody already know what they're going to decide? Let's take a straw poll and see where they are. So it looks, at least from the readbacks, that there might be those who are questioning with this whole issue about intent. There is what we know for certain, that there's no unanimity around whether or not a crime was committed, and there's no unanimity amongst the jurors to exonerate him.
Yeah.
So they're going to do the proper due diligence, especially when you have a trial of this magnitude, with this many documents, this many witnesses, and this much testimony that came in.
Yeah, Bill, the judge this morning instructed the jury it must consider intent when determining guilt, not motive, he said, that Trump intended to falsify records, that he intended to keep it a secret. Is that what you think they're focusing in on, both with these questions and with the readback of the instructions?
Elizabeth, I would hope so.
Let Bill answer this, Mercedes, and then I'll come back to you.
Sure.
I would hope so if they're on the if I was on the defense team, because while it's highly nuanced, intent has more of a mens rea, there's more mental process involved. So if motive is, you know, hey, I'm running for president, I don't need this out, and that doesn't get them there, that distinction between motive and intent could be enough to result in a juror or all the jurors being unable to convict.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.